Hello and welcome in, my fellow nerds, to another video. This is the end of the year 2025 and it's time to take a look back. You know, I made some goals earlier this year and I just had to review the video that I made. I think it was about 9 or 10 months ago. I made that intro slash goals video for 2025 where I kind of just set not too many, only a couple little gaming goals for the year, just to kind of move forward, as well as to introduce myself a little bit for this channel, because I mostly streamed on twitch.tv/nerdcrew and just posted VODs on this channel. And one of my big goals for this year was to kind of invigorate the YouTube channel part. And unfortunately, with invigorating that, I kind of led almost the downfall of the Twitch channel, I will say. We haven't really been streaming a lot lately, and that's okay. I think I've been enjoying YouTube video creation a lot more than the kind of stringent, like, schedule keeping that had to be with the Twitch channel, going at least once a week, and also trying to keep everyone else's schedule in mind so that we would stream multiple times a week so you guys would get good content and frequent content. And so with that, I wanted to take this opportunity to first say thank you everyone who watches the videos. I know it's not a lot of people, but I really do appreciate it. I honestly, every video has gotten more views than I ever expected them to get. I was really thinking every single video that I put out was only going to get, like, I don't know, maybe 10 views, including, you know, myself reviewing them and maybe a couple friends. But in reality, people have been there. They've been reviewing, they've been watching. You know, we got a lot of views on some of our TikToks and well, our one TikTok in short that I've made so far as of recording this video. And some comments and stuff, and we've really appreciated it. So if you've been one of those people, thank you very much. And if you're not one of those people, if you're new, go ahead and hit the like button on this video and also subscribe. Let me know down in the comments below if you're new or if you've been a long-time watcher, I guess. But moving on to what this video is actually going to be about is going to be the goals for 2026, as well as looking back at 2025. Because I had two major goals in 2025, and that was to play more rhythm games and play more PS4 VR, the original PSVR. And I gotta say, I started out pretty strong. All right. I was playing VR games, not as much. I only played like thinking back, I believe the only VR game I played was Astrobot. And with rhythm games, though, I did play quite a few. When it comes to those two goals, they're technically both failures. I did play more rhythm games, but I didn't play rhythm games every month like I originally was trying to, because I started working on this channel, we started a podcast, and a lot of that took some of the time out of my free time for playing video games. Especially because on the podcast, if you watch that, Nerd Talk Radio, you'll know that I've been playing a lot of my backlog games. My friends recommend me backlog games, and then I play them for the next month, and I try to beat them if I can, but most of it is just kind of trying to play them in an in-depth way. And that's been a lot of fun. I've been really exploring some games that I've had in my backlog for years, and I just never really attempted to play them, as well as some that have been more recently added to the backlog. But so I will say the goals for 2025 in terms of playing more VR and rhythm games, definitely kind of a failure. Rhythm games, I'd give myself like a C, but definitely the VR, that's an F for sure. And then when it comes to the YouTube side of things, like, I have been posting a lot of stuff on the YouTube channel. So I will say that has been an A for sure. Like, I've been doing a lot with this channel. I do next year want to kind of dive more into maybe creating more shorts and stuff and try and get the channel growing a little bit more. I'd love for next year to get up to 50 followers. If I'm being honest with you, 50 to 100 followers would be primo, man, if we could get up to that. So if you're watching this video and you haven't subscribed, please do so. But yeah, I mean, with that in mind, let's go through our goals of 2026. And I will say, looking forward to 2026, I really, really want to hit the ground running. So I have them written down on my computer, of course. And I will say, I have them into categories. So the first thing is when it comes to video games, because this is a video game focused channel, but really Nerd Crew is really everything nerdy. So it's a lot of hobby stuff and a lot of like other things as well, in terms of, like, you know, cosplay and anime and manga, comic books, video games, like the whole nine. And so we'll start off with the video games. For video games this year, I remember last year I also had this goal, which was to beat one JRPG. I did complete one JRPG last year, and that was, as you'll know from the review, Tactics Ogre Reborn. So I did beat that game for sure. And yeah, so I did end up beating Tactics Ogre Reborn. But if you want to get technical, I actually beat two JRPGs because I also completed Pokemon Moon, which I know a lot of people forget. These are JRPGs technically. Was it a good JRPG? No, but I did complete both of them. And so for next year, for 2026, I also want to try and beat another JRPG. That's going to be another goal. Secondly, and this could kind of coincide, I want to beat a Fire Emblem game. I've always wanted to dive into the Fire Emblem series, and they are JRPGs, so I could knock out 2 goals with 1, you know what I mean? Because it's not going to be like have to do each one. Some of them are going to coincide. So I definitely want to beat a Fire Emblem game. I have one on the Wii and one on the 3DS, but from what I understand, the one on the Wii is a sequel, technically, to the one on the GameCube. So I want to either try and get the GameCube one physically or wait for it to come out on Nintendo Switch Online and then beat it there. So that's another goal. My third kind of video game goal is to try and beat 3 retro games. Now, that might not seem very hard, but I mean, time is restrictive. So I definitely want to just try and beat 3 retro games. I think that one should be pretty simple. I consider anything a retro game that is before the PS4 generation. So that's Xbox 360, Xbox, PS3, 2 and 1, and then for Nintendo, it would be like Wii, GameCube, N64, SNES. And obviously all the Game Boy stuff too. But like generally, I just want to beat 3 retro games. And I think that's pretty, plausible. I think all 3 of those goals can easily be done. Next up for the video game goals is kind of a challenge to myself. I decided that 2026 is going to be the year that I attempt to kind of give some retribution to my younger self, which is to go back through some of my older games that I could never beat as a kid and complete them in certain ways. And so another goal of mine is definitely to go back and get some retribution for younger me. Younger Matt needs to be redeemed. And to do this, we are going to start playing some of the games that I could never finish as a kid. And there's quite a few of them because back in the day, I wasn't really too keen on finishing games all the time. I was more of like I played them, I would get kind of bored and then sometimes restart them, as you see with like the first couple. And that is some Game Boy games that you may be familiar with. One of my first goals is going to be to play either Pokemon Blue or Red. I have the Game Boy, the original Game Boys here. I think what I'm going to do is to probably get a new battery put in. It'll reset my file, which currently the file in my Blue version is like an only water run from what I remember. It might still be working. But yeah, so I definitely want to restart. And now I've beaten these games 100 times. And I'll probably play Blue version for the record. Maybe I'll do Red. We'll see. But I've never caught all 151. And it is possible. Through the power of the Aber cheat and trading, I should be able to catch all 151 in the game on the cartridge. And that is going to be my goal. Is not really just to beat the Elite Four and do all that fun stuff. I mostly want to capture all 151. And I will be using the Aber cheat to get Mew and probably some other Pokemon that might be harder to get, like Chansey and stuff like that. And then also I'm going to try to basically use the other one. I'm going to need to find a way, probably through Game Boy link cable type stuff, to try and get, the starter Pokemon and the other stuff that I need that are usually traded only. So it'll be tough. Not impossible, but it'll be tough. And I will need 2 Game Boys, which I think I currently have. Yeah, I think I have 2 Game Boy Advance SPs. I just need to get a link. Actually, I do have a link cable. So I should be all set. Honestly, this shouldn't be too hard. Just a little time consuming. And the next up is another Pokemon challenge for myself, which is going to be to play, I'm going to say probably Gold because that's my childhood one, but probably either Gold, Silver, or Crystal, and go and basically complete the Pokedex, because again, I never did, but also to go and beat the post-game content. Going back to Kanto and defeating all the Elite Four, defeating the gym leaders again and the Elite Four is something I actually never did. I think I ended up getting to like maybe 3 gym leaders, and I would always get bored and restart my file. So this time, I am going to muscle through and beat the entire game as well as complete the Pokedex. I don't remember how many Pokemon are in this game, but again, I'm going to have to use the power of trading. There's no Aber cheat this time, so I'm going to have to try and get them all natural / with trading. So it'll be tough because remember, Gold and Silver has day and night cycle. So I'm going to have to really play around with that as well to get all the Pokemon. And I'll probably use a guide for that one, honestly. Next up is some Super Nintendo games that, I just couldn't beat as a kid. And the first one, and honestly the bane of my existence, is classic Zombies Ate My Neighbors. This game has just, over the years, every, I want to say 5 to 6 years, I will boot this thing back up and I will attempt and I will get further, but I still cannot get to the end game. I think there's 46 or 44 levels in this game. I've gotten to level 42. So I've gotten very, very close to beating it, and I just couldn't finish it. So I'm going to. Next year, 2026, is going to be the year I beat this damn game and shelve it for good. Now, will I beat it co-op or single? I mean, if Erica wants to try and play it with me, sure. I just personally don't think it'll be easier in co-op. It'll probably actually be easier to complete solo, so I'll probably do solo. But next up is another Super Nintendo game, and that is Bugs Bunny Rabbit Rampage. Now, this game as a kid, this is a platformer. This is like gotta be one of the hardest platformers I've ever played in my life. I think I've only ever gotten to like the 3rd level, and I genuinely don't even know how many levels are in this game. So I want to try and beat this game. I'll probably look up a guide, honestly. We'll see how much and how bad this is. I do have my Superboy now, so I can play on the couch in handheld mode, and so this will be definitely one that I'll probably play handheld for sure. Maybe I'll stream some of these, by the way, especially some of the like Super Nintendo games. The Game Boy ones probably won't stream, if I'm being honest with you. Those I'll probably just play off the cuff and stuff like that. But most likely the Super Nintendo games I may end up streaming. I will probably stream them on twitch.tv/nerdcrew. Next up is some N64 games. Now, you notice this is all Nintendo-based stuff. And the reason for that is because growing up, I had a Nintendo. I had Nintendo everything. I never had a PlayStation growing up. And when it came to my Xbox 360 games, when I started playing those, I beat them all because I was older. So I never really struggled with those. But old Nintendo games, I struggled. So next up is going to be another one from my childhood. And boy, this one, I love this game. The original Perfect Dark. I gotta say, I've gotten to the final boss so many times, but I could not beat him. I want to say as recently as 3 years ago, I looked up a video on how to beat the final boss, and I just wasn't fighting him correctly. I'll look it up again before I play it, but yes, I'm going to play Perfect Dark. I won't beat it on like hardcore mode or anything like that. I'll probably just play normal, but I want to go through the entire campaign and finally put this one to rest, because this, just like Zombies Ate My Neighbors, I've had since I was super young. I've played it throughout the years, giving it more and more attempts, and just could never beat that final boss. But 2026 is going to be the year. We're going to complete some games. Next up has got to be Gauntlet Legends. Now, this one, on the N64 specifically, I played the arcade version of this as a kid, but I also rented this from Blockbuster a lot. And I actually ended up buying this cartridge a few years back because I was like, one of these days I'm going to play this again and beat it. Now, this game I do think will be easier with friends, so hopefully I can get a friend or two, maybe only Erica, to play this with me and help me beat this one. But this is one I never beat, mostly because we rented it from Blockbuster like, 6-7 times in a row, and you just don't have enough time with the games. So thinking about Blockbuster games specifically, I think the only one we ever rented a lot and beat was like Army Men. I think there was an Army Men Air Combat specifically that we did end up beating. But most of the other games we never really beat because they're also like Pokemon Stadium games and stuff, which don't really have like a beating version of it. But like this one needs to get, beaten. And the next N64 is Paper Mario. Yes, this technically was my brother's game. And I think this cartridge actually was my brother's. I think this is our original copy of the game, if I remember correctly. This game, my brother has beaten. I have never beaten it because it was his game, so I didn't really get a lot of playtime with it, but I did enjoy the game, and I did get probably halfway through it, but I just never had the opportunity to finish it. And I think this year is going to be the year. I'm going to start from scratch, from a fresh file, because I'm pretty sure this has the old files on it, and we're going to beat this one. And last up for the N64 is DK64. I loved this game as a kid, and I thought I could have sworn I beat this game, but I want to say like 10 years ago, I ended up on a whim just looking up the ending of this game, like the final boss, and I had zero memories of that. And I was like, did I not beat this? And then earlier this year, I booted it up because I was watching a streamer play it and struggle with it. So I booted it up for a couple minutes, and I realized, oh, I never beat this game. My save file is still on here, and it's at the final level, but I never got to the final boss. So I want to restart because I barely know how to play the game anymore. I'm going to restart from scratch and I'm going to beat this game. And last up on my video games to beat, my childhood games, is going to be some GameCube games. Now, I will admit that part of the reason I couldn't beat some of the GameCube games is because my brother is the one who owned the GameCube. And so I didn't really get a lot of time to play with it. This was around the time that the 360 was coming out, so I was still playing. Actually, no. I think I had an Xbox, not the 360 yet. So I was playing my original Xbox, mostly Elder Scrolls, and actually that would be a good game to put on this list, would be Morrowind, but I wouldn't even know. I don't have that physically. So maybe, you know what? Maybe Morrowind. I might add Morrowind onto this list. But going back to GameCube games, the first one is a game that, again, I played a lot of, but I couldn't beat, mostly because I didn't own the system. My brother did. And so I didn't get a lot of playtime with it, would be Star Fox Adventures. This game, I feel like, is kind of controversial. A lot of gamers will go out of their way and say, like, oh, it's not a good game. It's the worst Star Fox game, blah, blah, blah. This game is hella fun, dude. And I'm going to beat it. This is going to be the year I'm going to put this on, probably on my Wii, not the GameCube itself, but I'm going to beat this game and finally finish it. Next up for the GameCube is a game that, I'll be honest with you, I never really liked all that much. I felt that it was too open worldy and I got lost too much. And I think it was just, me being young and just not wanting to spend too much time on games. But that is Zelda the Wind Waker. I never beat this game. I honestly barely got very far in this game. Again, my brother owned the GameCube and he owned this game, so I didn't really get a lot of time to play it, but still, I just never got around to beating it, and I feel like I've missed out because so many people have told me this game is excellent, and I've got to play it, and I've got to beat it. And last up is Lost Kingdoms, another game that, once again, just couldn't beat, but I'm going to do it. I got far, and it's time to complete it. So I already filmed part of this video, but I ended up kind of giving it more thought. And I was like, what are some other games? There's that burning feeling that I'm missing some games from my childhood that I know I struggled with and didn't beat. And so I thought about it and I wanted to stick again to games that I currently have physically. And unfortunately, there are a couple games that I am missing now. I probably traded them away or sold them or whatever. And so I'm not going to mention them. If I end up finding them, maybe I'll add them to the list. But as of right now, I'm going to add 2 more to the list. And those 2, I can't believe I didn't think about this one, but of course is Super Mario World. This game is like so hard. Back when I was a kid, I unfortunately only could go and play it at my cousin's place, which I didn't visit them very, very often, but I did visit them mostly in the summers. And I would play this game and I would never get very far. The furthest I ever got, I believe, is the like forest area, whatever world that is. And I never got to Bowser's Castle to finish it. I've watched so many streamers play it. It doesn't look that complicated. Of course, it probably is actually playing the game. And so I definitely want to add this guy to my list to beat. I even played it a little bit this year, but of course I did not beat it. And then lastly, again, games that I currently own. The last one I have to say, and I thought about this, I was at work and I realized, oh yeah, that's right, I never beat that either. And that is for the PS2, GTA Vice City. That's right. This game, I don't know what it is with the GTA games in general. I've never beaten any of the stories. I've played Saints Row 1 and 2 and beaten them. I think I played a little bit of 3, but I never got too into it. But for some reason, I played so much Vice City at my cousin's house, but we only ever just put in the codes, got all the weapons and ammo, and just would mess around in the world and do side missions. But I never actually sat down and beat the campaign. And so I'm definitely going to add GTA Vice City onto the list too. I'm pretty confident that I can do most of these games next year. So it will be a goal of mine this year, 2026, to complete as many of these as I can. It won't be all of them. I would be shocked, utterly shocked, if at the end of 2026 I come and make a video and say, hey guys, I beat all the childhood games I couldn't beat as a kid. I do feel like some of these are going to stump me. I think I'm going to struggle with DK64. I think I'm going to struggle with Super Mario World a little bit. I think I'm going to definitely struggle with Zombies Ate My Neighbors and GTA Vice City just because of the length. And also just, maybe Wind Waker as well, because that one's also kind of long. So we'll see how far I end up getting through this journey. And it may even stretch into future years, but I just feel like now is the time to stop putting some of these games off and get them done. And so that is going to be a big goal of mine for 2026, beating these childhood games. But honestly, that is not my only hobby goals, because another thing I'm going to try and do is start a hobby journal. I've seen a lot of TikToks and Instagram reels where people make like journals on like movies that they watch and games that they play and books that they read, just to kind of keep track throughout the year and just like, write little things about them, little blurbs, maybe reviews, and just what they liked, what they disliked. And I want to try and do that for generally my hobbies. And so for general hobbies, that's things like, painting minis, playing board games, reading manga, reading comic books if I end up reading any of those this year, obviously games, movies, the whole thing. I'm just going to keep a journal. I actually, as of recording this video, I just bought the journal materials, like the basic ones, a journal and a pen set, and then a little bit of washi tape. And we'll see, maybe I'll end up getting more washi tape and stickers and stuff to make it like really pop. And we'll see throughout the video, the years in this video. I may even incorporate it into my pickups videos. I think maybe monthly I may just like do journal entries and just read them and show you guys what I've been up to. But that's going to be a big goal of mine for next year as well. And then other than that, I want to try and paint minis again. I know I say this every year. I will say I did paint some minis this year. It was all at the beginning of the year, unfortunately. I think around March or April I stopped. But this year, I want to paint 5 Warhammer 40k minis, 5 Super Dungeon Explorer minis, and then 2 other minis, because I do have other board games that have miniatures in them. So I'd like to try and paint at least 2 of those. I've got the Shovel Knight board game. I've got Primal. I've got Marvel United. So I've got a couple options for that one. And so in total, that's 12 minis. So it's basically 1 mini a month. So if I can get through that, I think I will probably continue to try and paint minis throughout the years. But if I can't get through that, I think I've decided I may end up at the end of this year, if I cannot paint minis, start getting rid of some of them. I just think it's time. I've had a lot of these miniatures for a long ass time. Most of them aren't really worth any money compared to what I paid for them and stuff, but it'd be good to get them off my shelves, get them to homes that people will actually appreciate them. And yeah, so that may be a thing I do at the end of this year, is go through, especially the Super Dungeon minis. I've had them for forever. I barely play them anymore because I don't really have a lot of people who are able to really sit down for a couple hours and play that game. So they may end up going away if I stop painting. And so this year, I'm going to 100% try and paint, and I'm going to journal about it. I'm going to try and take pictures, put them on the Instagram, the whole 9. Really want to try and stay motivated. Some other hobbies that I have goals in is I do want to build a new cosplay this year. I was supposed to build a new cosplay this past year in 2025, but I really didn't go to any conventions, and so I didn't have that motivation. This year, I will be going to probably 2 or 3 different conventions, and so I'll have that motivation to actually build a new cosplay. There's also a new heavy metal battle jacket that I want to build. And going back to conventions, I want to go to at least 3 this year. I want to see at least 2 concerts this year. And I already said I'm going to start that gaming journal. When it comes to streaming and YouTube stuff, I will say streaming is kind of just like on the side right now. But for YouTube, I definitely want to try and get a new camera, because right now I'm just using a basic HD, 1080p Logitech. I'd like to get something a little bit more sophisticated, but not really break the bank sophisticated. I'd also like to get a stream deck so I can kind of switch between different scenes specifically for the podcast, and definitely new lights, because as you can tell, the lighting in this room specifically is just terrible. So I'd love to get some new lights. I know you're supposed to have like lights over here on this like top area. You should have like a backlight somewhere. So I definitely want to start improving this office for my YouTube videos and stuff. After that, movies wise, I definitely want to try and watch at least 3 anime movies. This year I watched, I think, 2, if I remember correctly. I want to try and go back because there's so many great like 90s anime movies, early 2000s anime movies, and I want to try and watch them because I've always kind of been like, I don't really want to watch anime movies. But recently, in the last couple of years, I've been seeing clips of them, and I really, really want to try and do that as well. And then for just movies in general, I'd love to try and watch at least 2 movies a month. One that I've never seen before, and then one that can just be any movie. Any kind of like movie I've seen before, or maybe a new one, doesn't matter. But I definitely want to try and watch at least 2 movies a month, and then 3 anime movies throughout the year. And then finally, the last set of goals. I know this video is getting a little bit long because I do have a lot of goals for this year. 2026 is going to be a big year, and I'm really going to try and hit all these goals. But for manga specifically, I really want to try and catch up on the Goblin Slayer manga. I don't even know how far behind I am on that one. I want to say only a few volumes, but I want to catch up on that. Not really the side story ones, but just the main one. I want to try and catch up on the Blue Exorcist manga. I think last I read was somewhere in the Kyoto arc. No, I think, yeah, I think I read up to the Kyoto arc. I know the anime has already passed that by quite a bit, and so I want to go and try and read through and like get, up to date, because I see the newest volumes at the store all the time, and I'm always tempted to get them, but I already have volumes like 1 through 23 or 24, and so I definitely want to sit down and start reading and actually catch up with it. And then I want to start up 2 new to me manga, so manga that I have not read yet. One of those will probably be colorless, if I'm being honest with you. The other one, I was going to make it Berserk, but I already started reading Berserk, so I'm not going to count that one. And so instead, I'm going to try, for my last goal, to try and get up to at least volume 25 in Berserk. So all these goals are holistically doable. I mean, 2 new to me manga, if I had to guess which ones I wanted to do, I definitely would love to read Soul Eater and then read that colorless manga. I think those are probably going to be the 2 new to me manga. I just have to go and start actually reading them. But I'm going to wait till the first so that they count, unlike Berserk, which I started reading before. But yeah, that's all my goals for 2026. I know it sounds like a lot, especially when you think back to the goals video that I made for 2025, where it was really just, I want to play more Rhythm and play more PS4 VR games. And I didn't even really accomplish that because I made it a little too specific, where I was like, I want once a month to do this. All of these goals that I have here for this year is kind of more general. So like there could be a month where I don't complete any goal, and then there could be a month where I complete like 5 of them, because they're more general. It's not like every month I have to do this thing. There's only one goal that's kind of like that, and that's the movie goal. And that's because I feel like I definitely have the time to watch movies here and there. I just never have like the urge to. And so I want to try and change that. And also, obviously my wife is really into movies, so it'd be nice for us to actually sit down and watch more movies together, especially ones that she likes, that she can recommend to me and stuff. But yeah, that is all my goals for 2026. Let me know down in the comments below if you think I'm crazy, if you think I'm putting way too many goals on myself. I really want to just jam-pack 2026 with hobbies. The hobbies I've loved for years. I've kind of been dabbling in some of them and falling off others. I really want this year to be the one that revitalizes my love of all these different hobbies. And so that's why I'm kind of packing it with so many. We'll see what ends up happening. That journal thing, I think, is going to really help, because I'm going to be able to look down and be like, oh, that's right, I was able to accomplish this, this, and this, and not this. As well as, like I said, I think maybe either on the podcast or on the pickups videos from now on, I think I might take out the journal and be like, here's the journal, here's my journal entries, and show you what I've been up to and stuff like that. Just like a quick 5-minute thing. And so look forward to that, and look forward to those future videos. I have, kind of, I would say, pseudo big plans for this channel going forward. 2026, I'm definitely going to keep up with the pickups videos, although I've decided I'm going to dial it back, and I'm going to try and set a cost limit on this is how much I have to spend every month for video games, because I definitely feel like I've gone way overboard, especially the last 4 or 5 months of 2025. I spent way too much money on video games that are just packing into the backlog. So I got to stop doing that. I'm going to set myself a hard limit. I'm not going to tell you guys what it is, but I have a number in mind, and I'm going to try to stick to it. That way it would be and it's not going to carry over either. It's not going to be well, I didn't spend the whole amount this month, so next month I can spend more. No, it's going to be this is the limit, stick to it. And even in that journal, I may put in there, these are the games that I added in. So we'll see about that part. But generally speaking, I'm excited for the new year. I'm excited to be tackling some of these goals. And stick around and follow along, guys. It's going to be hopefully a crazy ride. We'll see how much of this I can get done. But if you like these kinds of videos, if you like pickups videos, if you like gaming related content, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm hoping by the end of 2026, maybe we could hit 50 subscribers. Honestly, I'd love to say 100, but that's so unrealistic unless I grind hard, and I'm not going to do that. But yeah, this is just really more of a casual channel, chatting about video games, chatting about nerdy stuff, chatting about anything that is hobby related mostly. And so I'm hoping you guys enjoy the content. Go ahead and hit the like on this video if you like it. Follow us over on Bluesky, on Instagram, and on Twitch, because I know I don't really stream that much on Twitch, but I will try and stream a little bit more this year. It'll probably be 1 to 2 times a month at most, though, unfortunately. I just don't really have the time for it anymore. It's why I stopped doing it in the first place and kind of switched over to video creation. Because even right now, for the month of January, I think I'm going to put out maybe 4-ish videos, and I can preload all those. I can film all those videos in the month of December, end of December, and then piece them out, and then I have all of January to actually do other stuff. And that's what I like about YouTube creation, is you can kind of front load a lot of stuff, which is nice, depending on your content, of course. And so I've really been enjoying the YouTube creation. I'm going to keep doing it at least for the next year. We'll see where it goes. And if I'm having fun with it still, I'll keep doing it. It's not really taking too much of my money to do this, and it's not really taking too much of my time to do this. So, and I'm learning a lot, learning how to edit, learning how to make videos, learning how to film. Again, with the lighting, I got to get better lighting in here. So hopefully that'll be soon. But generally speaking, all those links will be down in the description below. Go ahead and watch some of our backlog stuff. Go watch our other Nerd Talk Radio episodes, some of the past pickups videos, and just have yourself a good time. Thanks again so much for a great 2025, and here's to looking forward to an amazing 2026. And I'll see you nerds in the next video.